Hello, this is Erica Henry. I am doing my advanced concept presentation today on penicillin. So what exactly is penicillin? It is a class of antibiotics that are used to treat bacterial infections. This can be like ear infections, sinus infections. It's produced by bacteria and fungi. It was discovered in 1928 by Alexander Fleming. He later went on to win the Nobel Prize for his discovery of penicillin. And he did have a warning message at his acceptance speech that the overuse of penicillins might one day lead to bacterial resistance, which we are actually currently seeing. For example, MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, that has become resistant to the penicillin, and so we're trying to find different ways to be able to fight that bacteria. Penicillin wasn't actually used on patients until 1941 after further lab testing by Florey and Chain out of England. So it was like 20 some years gap before it was actually used on a patient when it was discovered. So penicillin works by indirectly bursting bacterial cell walls. These cell walls are necessary for the survival of bacteria. So what happens is peptidoglycans create a mesh-like structure around the plasma membrane of bacterial cells, and that gives the strength to the cell. The penicillin then works directly on those peptidoglycans. So when bacteria multiply, they make little holes in the cell wall, and that's where the peptidoglycan fill in those holes, which will strengthen then that cell wall. And so what penicillin does is it breaks down those bonds that hold it together, and it leaves holes within the cell wall, making them more permeable to outside. And as the last point says here, as the water concentration of the surrounding fluids is higher than the inside of the bacterium, the water then rushes in through those holes and then blows up the bacteria, basically. So it's kind of a neat little function that it's got going on there. So bacterial resistance to penicillin. So like I said earlier, there is a lot of resistance to antibiotics right now on the market because of the overuse, probably because providers are just providing prescriptions for antibiotics, even though somebody's issue may not be bacteria. It could be a viral infection. Antibiotics only work on bacterial infections. So I know it's really hard for some patients to understand because they're sick, they want an antibiotic to make them feel better, but that's not necessarily the best course of treatment. So anyways, back to the resistance to penicillin. Bacteria are very hardy creatures. They've been around for millions of years. They've been able to survive in a variety of climates, really, really cold to extremely, extremely hot. So varies, and they multiply very quickly. So the three main ways that bacteria tend to invade or evade penicillin is through penicillinase, altered bacterial structure, and penicillin removal. So, hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. So I just wanted to go back quick to where I was talking about it being hardy. This has given bacteria the ability to be very adaptable in order to survive all of those different types of extreme locations. Like I said, then there's the three main ways that bacteria evade penicillin, and basically penicillinase is an enzyme that degrades the penicillin that's trying to get in, and altered bacterial structure is then where some bacteria subtly change the format of the penicillin binding proteins in their peptidoglycan wall, and then therefore the penicillin can no longer bind to it. So that's how they're very adaptable. And then penicillin removal, bacteria has efflux pumps that use to release substances from the cell, and then the repurposing of some of these pumps can allow the cell then to dispose of the penicillin and not kill them. So there's many ways that bacteria has figured out a way to evade medical science. This is penicillin structure. Right here is how it's binding to the protein. This was done in Chimera. I hope I did it right. And then my references. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.